This is my favorite Tiffany Henyard interview. Here we go.
I wants the receipts and to know the purpose.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas?
Did you?
What is that?
No comment.
Did you know?
You don't
What
know
is
if you were
that?
in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
This administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
We are.
WGN Investigates has obtained and reviewed subpoenas the FBI served to Thornton Township and Dalton. They serve as a roadmap to the ongoing federal investigation. They seek payment and expense records for Tiffany Henyard, as well as her boyfriend, who runs a violence prevention program for the township. Also named Henyard's top aide, Dalton's acting police chief, along with 4 village and township trustees and 2 of Henyard's relatives who are on the government payroll.
They'll turn up more and more information. They'll turn up more leads. They may turn up more witnesses. They may find a cooperator. They may find an informant, all which will benefit the investigation tremendously.
But based on what we know now, if you're Tiffany Henyard, how are you feeling?
I would be nervous.
WGN Investigates has reported she and her team frequently travel first class and have stayed at high-end hotels. The cost in the past year, more than $102,000. The FBI wants the receipts and to know the purpose. Dalton also comes with a legal cost to taxpayers. Henyard's attorney recently notified the board he was withdrawing from defending the village in 21 cases because Henyard's opponents have refused to pay his bills.
Mayor Henyard is on an island of lawlessness and is just doing whatever she thinks will benefit her personally and politically.
The vision wasn't to rob the city. The vision wasn't for the FBI. The vision wasn't for you to steal all the money.
Late last year, I asked the self-proclaimed Supermayor whether she might be the problem. You often point out you are the leader of Dalton. At what point is this dysfunction a reflection on your leadership?
When I replace my board.
Isn't
Asked about herself, and she goes, well, when I replace my board, meaning all of them out there.
part of being a leader learning how to work with others? I mean, this is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Yes, but when other people are the puppet masters and they're the puppets, this is the show you get. But as you can see, progress is still being made in the village of Dalton.
What a spin! Oh, what a spin! I don't care what you say. She says stuff. She does. She says stuff. Oh, it's wild. The stuff that comes out of her mouth, you're like, yeah, not so much. No. Can't really get behind you here, Tiffany. All right, let's get into the guts of the matter. Guts of the matter is, got a bunch of subpoenas. FBI has just been sending out subpoena after subpoena after subpoena. Now we're kind of figuring out, we're honing in on who those subpoenas and what information they might be looking for. Subpoenas reveal Tiffany Henyard and her allies are FBI focused. It's Tiffany. We knew this. It's not the entire township of Thornton. It's not the village of Dalton itself. It's individuals who have been tasked with running said village and township. But yeah, the FBI is going, we're going to need to see some of your paperwork. I need you to come in on Saturday. A woman who portrayed herself as the most powerful politician in the South suburbs, is the focus of a wide-ranging FBI investigation whose focus has grown to include people close to her politically and personally. Subpoenas served in recent weeks to the two municipalities led by Tiffany Henyard. Number one, the village of Dalton, which she is the mayor, and Thornton Township, reveal federal agents are investigating many of the same concerns the WGN Investigates has reported on in the past year. Now, the individual that we saw interviewing, that was the WGN, that was Ben Bradley from WGN, and he's done an amazing job covering this topic. So Henyard, Don't you love it when he says, it might be you? And she's like, oh, no, it's the puppet master. It's the puppet master. The puppet master is just doing stuff. It's not me. Puppet master. She just immediately spins it away from herself. Henyard, her political committee, her cancer charity, her boyfriend, 2 of her relatives, 4 trustees who are allies, her deputy police chief, and even her defunct burger business are all named in the subpoenas. The documents demand the Dalton and the township turn over payroll, expense, employment, reimbursement, credit card, travel, and dozens of other records to a grand jury hearing evidence on Monday. I don't think this is going to go well. You know, for Tiffany and for her associates and for her family members and for the partridge in a pear tree that the FBI is asking for. So you've got shenanigans, folks. These are heavy duty shenanigans that the FBI is saying, you know what? We're going to need to see. We're just going to need a little quick peek see of what you've got going on there, because there's all these rumors, there's all this craziness going on. People within the village, people within the township, they are talking. They're not saying nice things. They're saying, you're going down. You're going to jail. The subpoenas also seek information on the village's permitting and licensing practices. That's an interesting one. And why would that be? Well, it's because it's rumored that Tiffany Henyard, anybody who doesn't agree with her and didn't campaign for her, yeah, they may not be getting their professional business license renewed. Yeah, ixnay on that one there, sport. Yeah, no, you can't have a license. License is no good here. You're out of business. Literally what she's doing. Henyard has been accused of denying permits to people and businesses she deems insufficiently loyal. She is straight up running a fiefdom. She is the queen of the fiefdom, and she is going to rain down her terror. Clearly, they've targeted certain individuals in both the village and the township that should be a huge red flag, said retired FBI agent Virginia Wright, who reviewed the subpoenas at the request of WGN Investigates. Hey, take a look at these, see what you think. Oh, yeah, good. Federal prosecutors charged Henyard's top aide in both the village and the township with bankruptcy fraud in April for failing to report his earnings from Dalton. You didn't declare those earnings. Okay. Keith Freeman remains in both positions despite the charges, which his lawyer may be part of an effort to get him to cooperate with investigators. All right, let's go after him for this, but we're going to tell him that we're not really going to stick him with much time, a little bit of probation, but we'd like to know what you know. Would you please share that with us, Mr. Keith Freeman? The village of Robbins has also received a subpoena. It's a nearby village. Received a subpoena related to Freeman's time as an administrator there. An audit obtained by WGN Investigates indicates Freeman received more money than was budgeted while working in Robbins. Okay, more shenanigans. They'll turn up more leads, said retired FBI agent Wright. They may turn up more witnesses. They may find a cooperator. They made an informant. They may get an informant. All will benefit the investigation tremendously. She's just saying, hey, whatever they're looking for, they're going to get additional pieces of information, and they're going to go down those roads. And this isn't that hard of stuff to track, right? You got expense reports. Hey, where'd you spend your money? You either have receipts for it or not. They're either legit or they're not. If somebody's putting a focus on that, it's going to be tough to work your way around it. First class, is that acceptable? I mean, if you've got a big wig city council from like maybe New York City that has multi-billion-dollar budgets, maybe, but the village of Dalton and the township of whatever, they're like between $4 and $7 million negative in the budget. Should Tiffany and her cohorts be jetting off to Portland via first class? Who goes to Portland first class? I don't know if she actually did, but it showed that's one of the places she went. She definitely went to Vegas, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Unless one of your cohorts, woke up in bed with the member of the opposite sex and nobody really knows what's going on. And yeah. Ugh. And then allegations of sexual abuse are thrown out. I mean, this story just keeps a given, right? Henyard is denied wrongdoing and claimed concerns about her spending of taxpayer money and allegations of political retaliation are fake news. Interesting. I am reporting on fake news, apparently. Yeah, but those FBI subpoenas, those are not fake news. What are they going after there, Tiffany? Tiff? Can I call you Tiff? They're motivated by race, despite the fact that Dalton trustees have challenged her are also black. Yeah. Yep. Can't make this stuff up, right? You're racist. I'm the same color as you. Doesn't matter. You're racist. You should all be ashamed of yourselves because you are all black. You are all black. And you are sitting up here beating and attacking a black woman that's in power. Well, I think, Tiff, that the real issue there is that you're a black woman in power that is abusing her position of power. And now the powers that be would like you to open up your books and be, translucent and just share the information that you have. We need a certain degree of transparency that we haven't been getting, especially after that whole what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas thing with the rape allegations. I mean, good Lord, not a good look there, Tiff. Not a good look. Henyard yelled at trustees during a February meeting, "Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves." Well, that is her speaking, and she is pushing back on some of the rhetoric and some of what she believes to be fake news, when in reality, the FBI is saying, we'd like your information. We're going to go after them, and them. And we'll get back to you, Tiff. We'll see what we need you for. Neither Henyard nor the $5,000 per month publicity agent she hired at taxpayer expense to represent the village and township responded to a request for comment about the ongoing FBI investigation. That's because the noose is starting to close and it is going to get hairy, folks. And by hairy, I mean shenanigans exposed. To all you clowns that are part of the circus, misery needs company. I pray for you all stop chasing fake news. But this isn't fake. None of this is fake. We don't have to make this up. These are allegations of what you've actually been doing. And we just want to know the truth. So the story is, hey, you spent a whole bunch of money that wasn't yours. You hired a whole bunch of people that were inappropriate. You've had all kinds of business expenses that may or may not have been legit. And then you went to Vegas and then somebody had sex with somebody else and the details are fuzzy. They are hazy at best. But people woke up in bed and went, what happened? What happened? Like I said, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? I'm not sure. We'll just have to find out. Henyard and her entourage have racked up more than $102,000 in travel expenses charged to taxpayers in the past year. That's according to an analysis of credit card records by WGN Investigates. Records show first-class airfare, a stay at a $9,000 stay at the Four Seasons in Atlanta. That sounds nice. I'd like that. Company paid. And a $13,000 bill from Marriott Marquis in New York City. All right. Hotels for everyone. Well, room service in there. Was room service on there? I'm sure it was. WGN Investigates previously reported on a trip to Las Vegas by Henyard and her allies that cost the pet taxpayers $26,000. All right. You're going from Chicago and then you're going to Vegas. That is not an expensive flight. $26K. How many people did you take? Did you take 20? No, you took a handful, right? But then again, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, unless, of course, FBI and their probing is involved. Henyard's former assistant now accuses Dalton trustee and community activist Andrew Holmes of sexually assaulting her on the trip. This is where it starts to get a little dicey, folks. Doesn't start, it is dicey. Although Holmes has not been criminally charged yet, and he denies the allegations. I'm innocent. I did no such thing. Well, we're gonna let these charges, see what we got going on. The FBI investigation is far from the only legal problem in Dalton. The attorney hired by Henyard to defend the village in multiple lawsuits, ranging from police shootings to workers' compensation, claims has withdrawn after Henyard's opponents refused to approve his bills. Yeah, if you're not going to pay my attorney's fees, I'm not your attorney. Next. Right? Attorney Michael Delgado told trustees the village may have more than $20 million in liability if it fails to defend itself in court. So you got 20 million with an M liability. You got a sexual assault. You got a rape case. You got all kinds of money being embezzled, just expenses being paid, first class trips. Meanwhile, back in the village of Dalton, you've got a budget that has gone sideways by somewhere between 4 and 7 million. You can't really tell with the board members in Dalton and the Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard screaming at each other. Because, man, some of these meetings have just been explosive, right? Explosive. So no one wants to represent the village, Delgado wrote, because bills aren't being paid and it's a tough gig. Hey, you want to go defend Tiffany Henyard? No. The FBI subpoena is also demanding billing records related to the Delgado Law Group's representation of Dalton. How much was spent on law fees? The subpoenas help seek similar records from Bert Odelson, an attorney who represents the trustees opposed to Henyard. Meanwhile, lawsuits against Dalton continue to stack up. This month, a Dalton police officer filed suit against Henyard in the village, claiming he was passed over for promotion after reporting a fellow officer was writing unwarranted tickets to boost revenue for the village. Do we have renegade cops in the village of Dalton? Who knows, right? Who knows? Or is this a police officer who's reporting somebody who just shouldn't have been doing what they should have been, or maybe they're writing up a few, and then he claims, I got passed over because of that guy over there. When things are in play, you just kind of go for it, right? Who knows with the passover for promotion. So attorney Pat Walsh represents the officer and 3 other current and former employees who are suing Henyard and the village, accusing her of misusing her political power. There are so many storylines going on here, just whoosh, 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 left and right. Mayor Henyard is on an island of lawlessness and is doing what she thinks will benefit her personally and politically, rather than following the law and doing what would benefit the village of Dalton and its residents. Those sound like reasonable words, aren't they? Yeah. Now you've got this whole laundry list of shenanigans that have already taken place, and it sounds like they are ongoing. Money meant for this spent here. Money we don't know where it went, not accountable. Trips that were taken. You heard her response to the interviewer from WGN. And he's like, well, did you go to Vegas? Of course I went to Vegas. And he asks her a pointed question, and she just sidesteps it. Just sidesteps it. Dalton residents have been crowding village board meetings, demanding answers and accountability for months. If you want to get a good kick, just skim through the videotape of the village of Dalton, the council footage, and you will hear some people just going at it. I mean, they are just mainly council members screaming at the mayor, and then the mayor screaming back with, fake news. You guys are all in on it. Nobody trusts me. You guys got to follow my leadership. She just, goes down all these kind of crazy train responses. This administration is shameful, declared one resident during a public comment section of the meeting. We are all waiting for the fall of this administration, shouted another. In the meantime, what you've got going is you've got subpoenas, you've got sexual assault allegations, you've got bankruptcy, allegations of fraud and bankruptcy. Hey, you didn't report that money. You got this income coming to you. You've just got all of these storylines, and the FBI is trying to sort it out through a number of subpoenas. Well, this is not looking good for leadership in Dalton, village of Dalton. This is not looking good. This is not going to go well at the end. Almost guaranteed, Tiffany Henyard gets the bump. She gets bumped out of there. They'll have to have some kind of emergency whatever their protocol is for leadership, because there is no way, if 10% of the allegations against Tiffany Henyard and her cohorts are true, she's out of there. She's out of there, because there's enough charges where you're like, oh, hey now, whoa, wow, really? Oh, yeah, that's not a good one either. How's she going to get out of that one? Don't really know. Does she cop a plea deal? Does she plea to something? Maybe. I mean, didn't she have any advisors say, okay, you want to go down these roads? Here's how we make that appear to be legit. Did nobody inform her there are ways to handle this that aren't quite so just outright fraudulent? Did nobody say anything? And how was this administration expecting that they were going to get away with this? Right? How do you just do all this crazy stuff? Like the trip to Vegas. It's a business trip. It's an economic development trip. That's literally how they spun it. I'm guessing with, the whole sexual assault charge, they didn't really get into that economic development topic that much. Sounds like it was, a bunch of drinking and some crazy stuff that happened in Vegas that Tiffany had really hoped would have stayed in Vegas. But when you've got multiple FBI subpoenas floating around out there, kind of points you in the direction of where you think you might be headed. And like that map kind of in the video earlier, that indicated, yep, we're going after Tiffany, we're going after her boyfriend, couple of family members, bunch of people from the board, from the village, from the, all of these entities, and they're fishing. They are fishing for information. And kind of like the interviewer, Ben Bradley, was doing. He was fishing for information from Tiffany Henyard. And I think the results that Tiffany gave were very indicative of how this is going to go, which is not well for Tiffany. Because the responses she gave, if she gave those in court, if she gave those to a judge, not having it. She would be declared, you are spewing fake news here. We need you to clean up your act. Otherwise, we will have you cited for contempt in court. You got to answer the question. And instead, well, and there's a puppet master, and this happens and that happens. You're like, you sound guilty. I'm not saying she is guilty, and I'm not saying any of these charges will stick, but she sounds guilty, doesn't she? Yeah. And I think that's what vast majority of America is looking at this and going, she sounds guilty. See how this goes down. We'll see how these shenanigans play out in the legal system, because that's where it's going to be for a while with these subpoenas. So, wild story. It's the story that just keeps giving. Make sure you're subscribed. Stay tuned, because we're going to have more on this, because this story is not done. Make sure that notification bell, you ring it, you hit the like button. We're going to be doing lots more. Thanks again for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.